Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
It is 11:03. You are riding with the Lock Shop. Thank you very much for being here today. Dusty with you. And we've got the return of the chosen one. Huss is going to be joining us. He was gone last week, had his fishing trip planned. Fire kind of threw a wrench into that a little bit. So we're going to get the update from Huss on everything that he dealt with last week. Looks like he started having a good week and then ended having a not so good week. So we'll definitely get into that. Thank you very much for joining us here on EST, Edmonton Sports Talk, and the Lock Shop, of course, presented to you by our partners over at Play Alberta. If you've not yet downloaded the app at Play Alberta, please do. And yeah, get used to it. The more you familiarize yourself with it, the easier it is to use, just like any other app in the history of apps. And when you download that app and you look right on the main page, when you load into the sports, you'll see EST specials every single day. If you're looking on the on a computer like I am right now, you see EST specials over on the left side. You just click on that little bad boy right there. And if you've not yet used the code, it's EST Sports. You deposit $20, you get $50. Yeah, $50 bet with the $20 deposit. EST Sports, you use it once per month, probably reload it. I would think probably same code in August, unless they want to spice it up a little bit. But the one that we've got on here early today, plus 205, and that'll be the Bombers to win and the Lions to win. Bombers, pretty big home favorite to open up here against Calgary. And then BC, a slight dog at home against the Riders, but I think they're a bit of a live dog with what we saw from BC. Now, judging anybody against Edmonton right now might be a little bit tough, but BC, when they have Nathan Rourke in the lineup, they are 3-1, and he's thrown for 300 yards in 3 of those 4 games. Nathan Rourke is certainly the real deal, and he's starting to get back up to speed, and he's got a ton of weapons. You've got Hatcher. Look what they did to Edmonton last night. Justin McInnes had 12 yards. Like, come on. BC's a very good team. I think they probably are going to end up being right up there in that top class with the Riders, the Bombers, and the Stamps. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that sorts itself out. So it looks like Huss is going to be ready to join us here right away. And yeah, we'll put together. Well, it's so quiet. This is that quiet time in sports. Mike, the Michigan fan over in the chat, talking about Chance Vegan. I see he did erase that, but hopefully he made some money on the Calgary Stampede, which is always a nice little bonus event to make some money on along the way. Use your game sense when you're playing with us at Play Alberta. All right, there he is. The long-awaited return of the man, the myth, the legend, Hustler Amma. Huss, what's up, buddy? I missed you, man.
Well, right back at you. I had a great week off, a very eventful week.
Yes,
away.
No doubt.
I mean,
bring us up to speed, buddy. It looked great early, and then what?
Dude, the Wednesday was definitely the craziest situation I've ever been in my life. I mean, there's nothing that is even remotely close to what happened. Cole's notes. At a fly-in fishing lodge up in the east of Manitoba. So you have to drive about an hour and a half, hour 40 or so to fly out. And it's about a 25-minute flight on a float plane. So it's Aikens Lake. I've been there every year for the last 12 or 13 years. Unbelievable place. Beautiful. It is really built out of wood. The first thing they did was build a mill and then log everything. So they built everything there. I mean, it's a stunning place. So the first 2 days, I mean, there's been a ton of fires in Manitoba this year, and there's a massive one that has been out of control for a month that is now getting into the Aikens area. So, I mean, there's a little bit of smoke around. The good thing was the first 2 days that we were fishing, there was no real wind. So it really wasn't a problem. During the day, you would see a few fires kind of get going in the distance. But then we got to the Wednesday, and they had 40-kilometer-hour south winds, and it basically acted like a nuclear bomb for the fire. And it spread at such a rate that it basically enveloped most of the lake. And we saw this happening late morning, and it was crazy to see, but again, it still wasn't right there. We did a shore lunch for about an hour 40 or so, and our guides were amazing, but I could tell that the tone of their conversations changed a little bit as we went to eat, and all of a sudden there was, okay, guys, let's get going. And we moved from our spot out into the lake, and at that point, I mean, everything had changed from where it was 2 hours ago. I mean, essentially, we were driving through thick smoke in the middle of the lake. You could see shoreline on fire. And as we made it back to, like, the lodge is on a little peninsula, as we made it around the corner to turn into the lodge, looking at the lodge was the blackest part of anything we'd seen the entire time. So we hooked up with the other boats. We got in. Guy that runs the place was literally at an outpost on the south end fighting the fire. They had two places there that the first 2 days, all the guides that weren't on the water were there cutting down trees. They were taking them on a barge to try to give them the best chance of saving these places, and then jimmied up sprinklers. And miraculously, they somehow saved these things. Like, it involved like legit firefighting, like until 3 a.m. that day on Wednesday. I got some pictures after we had been emergency flown out that afternoon that, I mean, just didn't seem real. So wow. The customers, like, we got back to the boat, back to the camp at like 2. Some people were straight up freaking out. I mean, and I get it. They were able to get planes in at 5:30 to get all the guests out. And then most of the staff left early the next morning. And they've got 8 people there that are still there, hunkering down, soaking the main camp, and fighting the fires. So, yeah, I mean, thankfully, I mean, no one of our group, like, no one was hurt. No one was ever in really real danger, I guess. But the power of Mother Nature is pretty incredible. And we saw it we saw it firsthand. So, to Pitt and all my friends up at Aikens, especially the guys that are holding it down right now, thinking about you guys. I'm hoping I'm still able to get there for our planned trip later on, because normally we go at August long weekend. This was the thing I did with the Health Sciences Center Foundation.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so you were planning on going back?
Yeah. So, I mean, we do a trip through WST every year that we usually do on August long weekend. This was just something.
I thought that was this trip, because I know you go there every year. We're good. All right, Huss, you still there? Do we have Huss?
I'm here. Yep.
Okay. All right. Perfect. We're back, buddy. We're back. We got it. We got it sorted out. Vera Montenegro says new digs can't come quick enough. Yeah, we got the move going down a couple Mondays from now. So hopefully the internet at the other place is a little bit better. Fingers crossed. Anyway, Huss, so you survived. The place is still standing.
Got back, and I've just been following that throughout the week. And I got a nice round of golf in. Was out at the RBC Scramble yesterday doing some stuff. So and I mean, I will say this: and I felt bad for leaving Reem all alone last week, but if there was ever a week to take off in the summer, the second week in July, it's a pretty good one because it was lean. I mean, 3 CFL teams, including the Bombers, were on the bye last week. So we didn't have a lot going on, but obviously the end of the Jays as we get into Jays first half, which didn't finished with a bit of a dud, but was excellent, and 3 big CFL games as well. So, hey, let me ask you, take us through your Friday night.
Well, it was a lot of sitting around on Friday night. I'll tell you that. It was, so it was interesting because, when you woke up in the morning, it was raining really heavily in the morning. So I didn't go outside. And then, I did a couple things, had a quick nap, and I woke up and you could tell that it was smoky just looking out the window. I was like, so I looked at the air quality and I was like, and we've had, over the last few years, there's been a lot of games where I thought smoke might be a little bit of a delay, a little bit of a worry. And usually we pulled it through. Every other time sort of pulled it through. And then kind of get there. And as soon as I walked it, it's bad when you walk into the lobby of the hotel. I came off the elevator into the lobby and I was like, oh man, it is smoky here. So we get over. It was smoky enough that usually I'll just sit there in the broadcast booth, which is all open window, and prep. But it was smoky enough. I was like, I'm not sitting here for 2 hours prepping. So I went indoors, did some prep there, and then following along. And they had the announcement around 6 o'clock. There was going to be a 7:45 start, and they were monitoring the air quality in Moose Jaw. Okay, and because the way was coming from that direction, and the air quality in Moose Jaw was was a 5 or a 6 or something, which is playable. And they were expecting that to be what blew in to Regina. So they're like, you know what? Probably be good for a 7:45 start. I bumped into Ariel, who does all communications for the riders, and she showed me they have their own air quality monitoring systems at the stadium. Right. So then they had the show. She showed me the app and she's like, this is where it's coming from. We should be good to go by 7:45. I was like, okay. And 7:45 comes and goes. And then it's like, okay, well, we're going to have to wait and see. And then they showed me the app again, and the plume of smoke, the lesser plume of smoke that was coming from Moose Jaw merged with another plume of smoke that was somewhere else and ended up cranking the air quality up to a 13 for a while. And then it's just like, okay, well, and you said the wind thing, there was no wind. They just needed any sort of wind to kind of blow the smoke out of town, and it would have been fine. So they're thinking, okay, well, the wind's going to pick up here at some point. And it just never did. There was a little gust of wind around, man, it must have been 10, 20 at that point. And I was like, God, now the wind's going to come blow this thing over. We're going to kick off at 11:15. This is unbelievable. And then what
was happening during all of that? Because I get the delay and what was happening. So I'm always interested into what is happening on the headsets and the broadcast. They had Luke kicking punts.
Yeah, Luke did some punt kick pass. Claire was, we must have ran. I don't know how long, because we went on and did a booth hit. They went to Claire, they went to Luke. I think they went for about an hour and a half on the pregame, trying to think we were going to get going. And finally, they're just like, we're going to go to a best of. And they flipped it to some plays of the week or plays of the month or something. And then we're thinking we're going to fire it back up. But in the stadium, for those who were in attendance having a couple of drinks, it was just a big party. Everybody just said Pill Country was still going pretty hard. Yeah. There was that one guy I put out pictures of. Anytime we brought a camera by that guy, he just grabbed his beer, just boom, 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 put it down, did another one. And then come 11:15 or 10:45 when they finally called it, I saw that guy and he was standing there like this, and he still had a pill in his hand. I thought, no way, this guy's still going. And then he was the first guy back in Pill Country the next afternoon going again. So they will look. I saw, but I think in the future, and the cancellation policy that they have is if a game has started, they will allow it to go 3 hours before canceling or moving it to another day. But this game never started. So it technically didn't fall under their cancellation policy. So they were thinking that either the wind or the air from Moose Jaw was going to get to Regina, or the wind would come and push it away, which is why they held on for so long. And they did not. And then Calgary was supposed to charter home after the game, like all CFL teams do. So they had to find a place for them to stay, and it wasn't easy because it was a Riders game and Craven. So almost every hotel in the entire city was booked up. So they got that sorted out. But I think by about 9:45, 10 o'clock, I'd kind of just been there's no way we're going to be playing. Not that night. It was looking across the stadium to the lights on the upper deck over there, you could see a haze. I was like, they're not playing here. So I get people like, first of all, the CFL can't control the weather, but what they could have done is canceled it at 9:00 and said, we'll play it tomorrow. It's not, the air quality's not going to get any better.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the way around it. But, they tried to do their best to make everybody happy, but that's just one of those situations. We bumped into some people the next day who were like, we really just wanted to wait around and be a part of history if that game kicked off at 11:15. I was just like, yeah, that would have been kind of cool.
Remus is like, I'm so choked that game didn't start at midnight.
Yeah.
It would have been so great, like, for our time.
We would have been watching that call. I would have been calling the game in the middle of the night.
Yes.
So
it would have been funny. I was following the scene as far as like what the heck was happening. And it's funny, like they hadn't canceled the game yet, but someone on Twitter said, well, I can't tell you about whether they're going to restart the game, but I just saw Dustin Nielson and Glenn Suter leave the building to the parking lot. So if that's any indication, we're probably not going to do it.
Let me just give you the title on that one quickly, because we're sitting there and we had been told like at 10:25 that they're not playing, but they had to wait till 10:45 to announce it. I don't know why. So Suits and I are like, okay, so we pack up our stuff, we walk out, then we get to the truck, and I looked at him, I said, well, maybe we should wait till 10:45 to drive away, like just in case something happens. He goes, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So we're sitting outside the truck, just sort of waiting, and then the officiating crew walks by us on the way out, like in their suits and everything. And I looked at Suits, I said, if they're leaving, I think we're good to go. So then we ended up getting in the truck right at like 10:40 and getting out of there. But yeah, that was just, it's never happened. I mean, that was insane.
B-Mans is there. A lot of us just drinking $9 beers for almost 4 hours. That's what was going on in the stands. I got to tell you, in a situation like that, maybe this is part of the reason why the Bombers have been as successful as they are. We have had a couple of long delays in previous years. And they just extended the pregame beer. So like beers were $5.
Oh boy.
At through it. And I mean, listen, they had the full game. Now I realize the next day they probably like, how would you compare the crowd the next day to what was supposed to be there on Friday?
B-Man's might be able to take a good guess to this. I would say
half.
Yeah, I would say, I was going to say somewhere between 50 and 60%. Yeah, which is not bad. Like, we heard a story. Some people slept in their car because they couldn't get a hotel. And they're like, well, we want to stay for the game. And they'd driven in from out of town. So they just slept in their car for the night so they could come to the Riders game the next day. The problem, like, what's really sucks is that the crowd that was there ready to go Friday night was a really good crowd. Really good crowd. I think it was over 27. Like, it was a really good crowd. So, tough blow. I thought they did an okay job. Obviously, your ticket was still good. They continued the 50-50. They let fans know that they could bring some of their own snacks and pops and stuff in. They were running low on beer, but they still had a bunch on tap. So I don't know if that ended up lasting through the whole game. So, post cancellation or postponement, I think they tried to do as much as they could to make everybody happy. But there's going to be some people who are clearly pissed about the situation. But it was a smoky night. Like, it wasn't like, it was smoky. They did not delay that just like because it was close. It was.
They've got those reels, and I realize that sometimes there's like rules or whatever that feel like, okay, this is a little bit much, or a little bit over the top. But like at 10 o'clock on the prairies,
on 10 o'clock on the meter that my one of our stats guys had, the air quality was a 13. It had to be at a 7. Like, it was almost twice as bad.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a scale at a 10.
Yeah, it was at a 13. So
when the icon is a World War II gas mask, you know that it's probably not.
You load the app and it just says WTF.
Yeah.
They're not playing.
Well, listen, never a dull moment in the Canadian Football League. They did get it. They did get the game in.
They did.
And I'll say this, like, I don't know whether the Riders just had a tougher time, going home and kind of firing it back up, as opposed to the Stamps, who were sleeping 4 to a room in a U of R dorm. But
I don't know how it could be
were-
tougher for the Riders when they're at home in their own house.
I just mean
Like,
tougher to turn it around. Like,
maybe.
it's just such a weird thing coming around. I mean, the Stamps were sort of, I think they're sort of locked in. And, I heard a few guys talking about it afterwards, and they said, you know what? It kind of reminded me of, playing in, in high school or in college or whatever. Because, but listen, credit to them. I mean, they would have had every excuse in the book not to be at their best. And man, what a game by VA.
Yeah.
There were some big time quarterbacking performances this weekend. VA right there. That's not an easy place to win. That's a heck of a defense. And like, how about Calgary now? Coming into Winnipeg, this Bomber team on Friday night is going to be in an ornery mood, having to sit on that ass kicking that Calgary gave them a couple weeks ago through a bye week. But I mean, Calgary, they had that loss at home to Ottawa, and I think it made a lot of people think, okay, well,
that was a
whatever,
crazy
they won a
weather
couple
game too,
games.
though. Remember, it was
a
like
crazy weather game. And now that they've just come up and steamrolled the Bombers at home and then gone into Regina and beat the undefeated Riders. So Calgary's very much in the mix. I mean, we were talking about there be two teams and then a gap in the rest. I think we need to reevaluate that. I think there's three teams, a gap. Although the BC Lions,
oh man, I think there's
as well.
I think there's four teams because the Lions are 3-1 with Rourke. Like, they lost 2 games when they didn't have Nathan Rourke. Masoli looked atrocious. Nathan Rourke is 3-1 as a starter this year and has 3 300-yard games. So I think we might be in for an incredible. And so this morning we put together a little play. It's up on our EST specials, and we'll let me just tease it because I'm talking about it now. But have you seen the lines yet?
No.
Okay, good, because we'll play Guess the Lines. But I've already put together a little parlay here. I like the Lions at home this week against the Riders, and I like the Bombers this week at home against Calgary. If those two things happen, there are 4 teams with 4 wins in the West, which would be amazing. Bombers would go to 4-3. Lions would go to 4-3. The other 2 teams would be at 4-2. So
Bombers would just go to 4-1.
Well, yeah, 4-1. What did I say? 4-3, 4-1. So there'd be 4-1, 4-3, 4-2, 4-2.
BC's 3-3.
Yeah, BC's 3-3, man. Their 2 losses were without Rourke.
And the Bombers are 3-1. It's just nuts. The Bombers have had 2 byes.
Yeah.
And BC hasn't yet.
And BC's played 4 of their 6 games on the road. So, yeah, I think this time next week, we're going to be talking about a 4-way tie with 4 wins in the West. Anyway, I put together an early little sort of early bird, hop on it money line before the money lines move a little bit. Bombers and Lions both to win. Boosted from +190 to +205. That's up on our EST specials page over at Play Alberta. But let's just stay with this Calgary game because we've been talking about a lot in Edmonton today, this whole quarterback situation. Calgary was awful last year. They went out and got Vernon Adams, and Vernon Adams, slow start from a production perspective. They have a touchdown for the first 3 games, but they were winning. Then he goes off for 428 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Riders. So Vernon Adams is Vernon Adams. But Calgary's defense is amazing to me because Calgary's defense, like they did to the Riders what they did to the Bombers. They've held Saskatchewan and Winnipeg combined to 26 points. They're doing it with a middle linebacker who was released by the Ticats 3 weeks ago. They're starting Kyle Wilson right now. They've got, and Dickinson talked about it with us in one of our calls early in the year. Like, there's so many fresh faces on this defense, and they're finding ways to get things done. Moncrief looks like he's in his prime right now. And their defensive line, while it only has, I think now 4 sacks, has a ton of quarterback pressures. And I think that's helping things quite a bit. So it's not just changing the quarterback, but that's made a big difference. But Calgary's defense is the best in the league right now. And I mean, yeah, Calgary looks legit, man. Very good.
I'm fascinated to see this rematch of, well, I guess it's not as much a rematch because Calgary played Sask last week with the extra day. But as I said, the Bombers have been stewing on this one for 2 weeks.
Well, and what are they off of a bye? 18-1 in their last 19 or something like that?
Like Andy Reid. Operation. Yeah, they're incredible coming off the bye. I mean, listen, I expect them to be way better. Zach Collaros is going to be playing with the chip on his shoulder after, a really subpar game and the 2 pick sixes. But Calgary is no joke. So do we have you have the lines already?
I have the lines. Yeah, you want them?
Okay, well, here, let me, why don't I guess them? How many games?
There's 4 this week. There's 4 this week. Good. Here we go. I'll lay them up for you. I've got this one Thursday night in Montreal. Whoa. This line has moved. Oh, we must have had Chad Kelly news. Has there been Chad Kelly news this morning?
Again, I've been busy doing other stuff.
Let me see, because I had a meeting between shows, so I didn't see anything. I'm assuming, because this line has moved since this morning. Air quality isn't great. This is from Shinetti this morning, but acceptable for the Argos walkthrough. Winton McManus, knee is limited. Chad Kelly, leg is rehabbing in Buffalo. So that's the latest. That was an hour ago. We thought he might be ready for Game 7, but he wasn't there today. He's rehabbing because this line has moved since I saw this morning by a decent little amount. Anyway, take that into account. I will tell you, I think this is the non-Chad Kelly line. Argos at Alouettes. What would you go with?
Montreal coming off the bye. I guess Argos as well. Let's go Montreal -4.
This morning when I saw it open, it was Montreal -5. It is now at Montreal -7.5. Huge number.
Wow.
Huge number. I thought without Chad Kelly, it was going to have to be a pretty big number for me to get on the Argos. I think I get on the Argos at over a touchdown.
That is tough. That is tough. They are going to have this extra time to prepare. Montreal's lost a game, but to me, Toronto is.
You know what might have moved the line? It was confirmed this morning that Davis Alexander is ready to face the Argos too. So this is Davis Alexander back for Montreal. That could be 2 points that way. I thought it was the confirmation that Kelly would be out. So if Kelly plays, I think we can assume this line moves back to around 4.5, 5-ish, right?
Yeah. I would say probably 4, maybe even less.
Yeah.
People just assume, they're going to be way better with Kelly. It probably takes a week or 2 for him to get back in, but so that's interesting. So Montreal, a big favorite in that one. Yeah. Is that a Thursday game or is that Friday?
That's the third. I got that one Thursday night. Then I'm flying Friday out to Vancouver for the Lions and Riders on Saturday. So it's a Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday slate this week.
All right. So Friday's Bombers stamp.
Yeah. What do you think?
I do think the Bombers will be favored. I think all those bye-week stats are pretty well known. I'm going to go 4 again. Bombers -4.
Almost had it. It's 5. Is it 5? Bombers -5. Okay. Yeah. Bombers -5. This is not shit. I know Smitty the Welder's he's been in the chat all morning saying too. He goes, Dusty, Calgary's going to go to 7-1 or to 5-1 this week. Which I won't be shocked if it happens. But Winnipeg is at home, coming off a bye week. They're what was it? Isn't something like 38-6 in their last 44 at home or something like that? And they've lost one game off a bye week in 5 years. So I think the 5. Once again, we just spoke very highly of Calgary, but I think the 5 against Winnipeg is kind of justified.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that that number comes down a bit. I could see it closing at 4 or 3.
It doesn't get inside 3 though, right?
No, I don't think so. The home field advantage that the Bombers have, the fact that I think that just the fact that they lost the way they did to Calgary a week ago, I think makes it far more you're not going to have them. If they had maybe checked out before that game for their bye week, that sure as hell isn't going to happen this week. So, I could definitely see a really tight, closely fought game. What's the total?
If it stays at 5, I would probably lean Calgary. The total's 50.5.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a lot about the defense. I mean, and taking care of the football, which unfortunately Zach did not do as well. Right on. Well, what about Saturday?
Riders at Lions.
Whew.
Yeah.
Riders at Lions. Riders having just lost. BC having just won, although BC doing it again. I'll go Riders -1.
Riders -1.5. Right on it, buddy. Right there.
Okay.
Right there. I think that's a fair line. Like the other two, when I saw them a little bit bigger this morning, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I think that Riders Lions line is spot on.
This is a pick 'em. This is a pick 'em if you ask me. I think the Riders were 4-0. They've looked good enough that, I mean, who is BC beaten? They had the miracle win over the Alouettes, and then they've beaten Edmonton twice.
They've beaten Edmonton twice. Fair point. I just think with Nathan Rourke, it's...
Well, no, I'm just saying that's why I think that the Riders were going to be a really slight favorite, but for all intents and purposes, this game feels like a pick 'em, and I think basically isn't.
How about that run that Calgary's on right now, though? They went Bombers, Riders, Bombers again, then the Alouettes. And they've already come through it with 2. I mean, if you can get one of the next 2 and go 3-1 in that 4-game stretch, you're laughing.
And here we were thinking that the highlight of the entire season was going to be their big win and celebration in the Stampede Bowl.
And then the Ticats and Red Blacks go at it again this week after the Ticats squeaked one out at home last week. We had AJ Jakubic on the Nielson show today. And the Red Blacks, I mean, 1-win team as well. Their 1 win came in that weird weather game against Calgary. And they're the only team that Edmonton has beaten so far this year. Ottawa is at home. What do you think this line is?
Hamilton -2.5.
Hamilton -1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, so not too far off.
A short favorite. I got to tell you, that Hamilton offense, when it's cooking, like Kenny Lawler is just on one right now.
Oh, buddy.
And Bo does not care. He's so good right now that he'll throw it into double coverage, no problem, just assuming that his guy is going to come down with it. It's pretty wild to think that VA, after what he did and what he went through last year and where the Stamps were, he's got them where they are. And the resurrection of Bo Levi Mitchell as a gunslinger has been so cool to see. I mean, they were 0-7 last year, and he just kept chucking it up. And now you add in a Kenny Lawler to the weapons that they have. Like, unfortunately for Ottawa, and I think Ottawa was, if you have Drew Brown game in and game out, you'll certainly win a few more games. And I thought he looked pretty good on the weekend as well. But the East becomes a lot more interesting if you have Bo Levi and Drew Brown playing at the level that we have seen at times. And I think we're getting a lot more of that from Bo lately than certainly we did in the first half of last season. Because it's been the top 2 teams that have had the quarterback issues. Well, obviously Ottawa has as well. They've started 3 different guys. But Bo just seems to be the one constant. Like, he could be last man standing for that MOP if he puts up these numbers again. As long as they don't miss the playoffs the way they did last year, if he's putting up all the numbers and the guys that plays all the games, he's certainly going to get a lot of attention now with Kenny Lawler in the mix. I could actually see Bo kind of getting back into the into the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Lawler's on pace for like 25 touchdowns right now. He's had an incredible start to the year. He's got 7 touchdowns. Hamilton is tied with Montreal for first in the East right now. They're both at 3-2 through their first 5 games. And then you've got the 1-win Argos and 1-win Ottawa and 1-win Edmonton out in the West. So, I mean, it's very early, but BC, it's early. Kelly hasn't played yet, but I think a crossover from the West to the East is possible this year.
Well, crossover from the west to the east.
Yeah, like a Western team will go east.
Yeah, I guess that is possible. Although it would really take Hamilton or potentially, I guess, Toronto to really drop off. Like assuming that Ottawa is going to be fourth, for the fourth place team to have a better record than the third place team in the East.
I mean, right now, Toronto's only got one win right now. BC's got 3. So Chad Kelly has to come in and play some pretty good football, right? So they already a little bit of a cushion there. But, I mean, what it does is it makes any possible BC-Toronto games rather significant as we work our way through the year.
Looking at CFL futures.
Yeah.
You remember when it started off, Calgary was the longest shot on the board at I think they were 23 to 1
deep.
or something like that.
It was deep.
They're now fourth at 6. They have just and that still might be undervalued based on what else we see. I mean, if the Bombers are 375 and the Riders are plus 450, I mean, from what we've seen so far from Calgary, they might be basically undervalued right now, to be honest, as where they are. It's been wild. I mean, fun week in the league.
Who'd you say is the MVP so far, Huss?
Right now, through this point of the season,
Bo, VA, Lawler.
I think you know what? Even though he didn't have the numbers in the first 3 weeks, I have a hard time not saying VA
from where Calgary was before, right?
Yeah,
yeah. And I saw somebody asking about the MOP odds. They usually will update them early in the week. They're not up right now, but you'll probably find them at Play Alberta here, I would think, in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I haven't seen any updated MOP awards, MOP candidates, but those are always fun.
Should be a tight race, though. On those top guys. Throw a few of those top-end guys in there.
But was not pleased with the Elks last night.
Oh, buddy. I mean, that makes you and 17,000 other people who were there last night.
Really disappointing. I mean, they got their win. They had the chance to make it 2 in a row at home, and that one, unfortunately, was a mismatch.
It was the final score was 32-14. And I would say that was extremely flattering for Edmonton for that game to be 32-14. We were joking this morning. If you told the BC Lions, hey, when you get to 50, we can get out of here, they probably would have hung 50 up by the middle of the third quarter. They were just comfortable running the ball with James Butler. Huge day for Butler, especially if you have him in your season-long fantasy league, which I do. Nathan Rourke got whatever he wanted. At one point, BC had over 400 yards more offense than Edmonton did. That's insane. At one point, it was the Lions were at 500 yards of offense, and Edmonton was sub 100. Trey Ford was awful. They could not establish the run. Their defense is an absolute disaster right now. I don't even know what to say about the defense.
They supposed to be good against the run?
On paper, they looked good. They've had Serezna. They brought in Brinkman. They paid Robbie Smith a ton of money. They basically brought in a Grey Cup champions defensive line. They've got Niles Morgan and Nick Anderson, who are absolutely hounds on the ball defensively. They brought Metier in at safety. They snagged Tyrell Ford from Winnipeg. I don't know if I've mentioned his name in a positive way yet this year. Their defense has completely fallen apart. It's awful. Did you see the time of possession in this football game last night? It was the second most possession that a team has had since they started tracking it 29 years ago. It was 43 minutes to 17 minutes, man. The Edmonton, when they got the ball, was 2-0, kick it back, and then BC would go on a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 play drive and either settle for 3 points or score a touchdown. It was
the Elks did nothing passing wise. I mean, Trey Ford was 4 for 12 for 34 yards and a pick.
Yeah.
And they had 12 carries in total. James Butler had 30 himself.
That's the most by a Lions running back since 1968. It's 2025.
When was the last time any running back had 30 carries in a game?
30's a lot. And
30 carries in a CFL game?
He's a workhorse. Like there's no anybody else getting a carry. Maybe that Horvath kid had one.
No,
but outside of that,
Rorken was
not last night. I'm talking this season. Oh, like I think Horvath might have had one touch this year. Outside of that, it is all James Butler at running back for Lions. So that's what he did. What do you have? He had a touchdown and 170 some yards. That's still not as bad as a few years ago when Edmonton opened in BC and James Butler had 4 touchdowns on them. Like James Butler's a killer. He had 2 through the air, 2 on the ground that day. Nathan Rourke is now 5-0 against the Elks. And we're sitting here in Edmonton this morning going, you give me your opinion on this, Huss. Like, it sucks because it's week 6 going into week 7. And they're pretty much out of it with how good these other 4 teams are in the West. So do you ride it out with Trey and by the end of the year you know exactly what you have? Or should you have gone to Cody to start the second half last night when Trey was 2 of 8 in the first half and try to salvage this thing? And I don't know if it matters because their defense is so awful.
Well, that's those guys weren't allowing James Butler to run 30 times for 172 or what what Rourke did through.
But
if
they could have put together a couple of drives, they could have given their defense some rest.
Listen, sometimes you got to win a shootout. I mean, the bottom line is you got to move the football, and they moved the football. They couldn't even get a first down. So I've been really skeptical about Ford. I mean, I haven't been convinced that he is that guy. I thought it was a smart move that they brought in with Cody Fajardo. He's a guy that has won games before. He's won a Grey Cup. You kind of laid it out where the rest of this division is right now.
Yeah, they're all too good.
I mean, I guess, is this just another rebuilding season for the Elks and you're going to give Trey a bunch of time and see? I mean, I guess if that's your goal, you go and do that. I know Ches was talking about that last night. I'm of the opinion that this team and organization needs to be more competitive. And if you've got another guy, anybody on the roster that gives you a better chance to win, I'm seeing what they can do. And that includes Cody Fajardo. Like, I really think it would have been perfect for Trey Ford to get in a situation where he didn't have to be the starter right out of the gate. You know, for instance, if they had brought in VA to be that guy to work with Trey, and maybe it's a 1 or it's a 2-year deal. And if you really feel like he's the guy, then afterwards, great. But I worry that he's just going to run out of rope in Edmonton and then he'll go elsewhere playing behind another quarterback. Maybe he'll come in. Like, I'm not sure he can be a regular everyday starter for a team that's playoff caliber in the league. At least he hasn't shown it so far.
You know what? I was just thinking, because I didn't really discuss this as an option today, but let's say they have a bye week right now. They come out of it. They go to Cody Fajardo to try to salvage some of this season. Let's say Cody Fajardo starts 3 games, goes 1-2. You are now 2 and whatever it is. The rest of the West, there's going to be wins and losses because they're playing each other. But let's say you go to Cody for 2 or 3 games and it doesn't work. Well, then you go back to Trey for the rest of the season. He gets to play. You get a good read on him. But I just don't think you bring in Cody Fajardo to not go to him at some point. This is the exact time to go to Cody Fajardo.
Try and go out and win the game.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You go back to Trey, you ride it out, and you get a full 15, 16 game evaluation of Trey Ford.
Here's the thing. I mean, when you talk about the noise around a team, it's going to get a hell of a lot louder if they continue to lose and you don't see Cody get a legitimate opportunity to get out, start a football game, or really be in a game when they're in it to see if he can be a difference maker for them. But to be honest, and listen, I still have my thoughts on Trey Ford. I'm not convinced that he's going to be an everyday starter that, contends for playoffs and to win championships. But I mean, you could have Doug Flutie playing there right now.
Yeah.
With what's happening with the Elks defense, I'm not sure how much of it matters. So, all in all, very, very big step back after the win that they needed to, we thought, save the season. They're now in rough shape. And where do they go? They've got another tough game next week, don't they?
Coming off bye, they go to Regina.
Yeah.
To take on the Riders. So not super
who are you
easy.
On to the Derby tonight?
Geez, I don't know, buddy. I haven't looked at it. I was kind of busy all weekend.
The big dumper.
Okay. I mean, it's tough
Big
to go
dumper
against that bad right now. Who else do we got?
Is the favorite. What's crazy is that this O'Neill Cruz from the Pirates is like just behind Rowley. He's only got 16 homers, but then I look at the odds and he's even money to have the highest exit velocity homer. So he's a guy that when he gets his bat on it, he murders it. And, you know, this isn't major league pitching. This is going to be meatballs from someone that you're deciding to throw them up. So he's sort of intriguing to me. Those two, those two, young guys right after Rowley, Cruz and James Wood, pretty intriguing. But again, weirder things have happened. I mean, I remember getting Cespedes probably 8-9 years ago as the longest favorite on the board, and he won. So I mean, weird things happen in the home run derby, but it should be fun tonight. Actually, after WST, for those of you that want more, I did a standalone with our old pal Jake with some stuff on the Jays at the break and the derby. So if you're watching WST, that'll be on afterwards. But yeah, I mean, it's always a fun thing. And it's the new format with the way that it's happened has made it so fun to bet. I mean, you know, you've got, the derby winner, you can bet to make the finals, to make the semis. But then there's other props like, how many home runs over on, or will we get over 15 in the first round total, the league of the winner. Like, this is one of the deadest days on the sports calendar. But I will say that even if you are a very casual baseball fan, there's some pretty fun props and markets for the Derby that could make tonight's action even more fun to watch.
What's coming up on WST today, buddy?
Well, getting back to the grind, Morgan Barron signed with the Jets today, so we'll be talking about that and looking at the other RFAs that they haven't signed yet. Bombers back at practice. We'll have something on that. Mike McIntyre is going to join us. Talk a little bit about the Jays season so far, whether we're buying and selling them as a contender at the All-Star break. So, yeah, it should be fun. Firing it up in just a few minutes over on the WST channel.
Good stuff, buddy. Appreciate the time, man, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.
That's right. I guess, are you traveling Wednesday?
I'm traveling Wednesday. I'm like flying out of here to get to Montreal at like 10:30 Wednesday morning.
Hey, we'll have to really dive in for our thoughts on the week in the Canadian Football League. If you're going to be gone, we may have to get to some early picks tomorrow.
Well, we might have. Maybe we have to dive into the Open a little bit as well tomorrow.
100%.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. That sounds good. I look forward to it. We'll see you then, buddy.
A couple big things to a checklist, and then I'll hold it down while you're away. Appreciate it, pal. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. There you go. That's Huss, Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up. If you go to Play Alberta and then click on, if you want to get on in the Derby outrights, that's where you can find it. You scroll all the way down. And Home Run Derby to make the final, the big dumper. Raleigh plus 135. Cruz is plus 150. James Woods is plus 220. Byron Buxton is plus 360. Camanero's 420. Brent Rooker's 470. I think I saw somebody in the chat say, Aiden O'Neill says Rooker is good value. And then Jazz Chisholm, 520 as well. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the big dumper, going to get to the final. Like, don't you think? Maybe we'll take Brent Rooker. Maybe I'll make this Dusty's play of the day today. Rooker to the semifinal plus 140. Maybe that's a play. If we think it's good value to get to the final plus 470, which it might be, maybe the safer play is just to get to the semis at plus 140 for Rooker. All right, we've got the oil stream coming up. Myself and Reed Wilkins, locked and loaded as the Oilers round out their coaching staff. We're going to get into to that a little bit. And we'll see what they're bringing to the table with a new look bench. Does that make a difference? You hope it would, one way or the other, at least. A great CFL discussion on the Lock Shop today. God, I love it. If you've not yet used our code over at Play Alberta, please do. EST Sports, deposit 20. Get yourself 50. Why limit your choices when you can have it all? Play Alberta is your go-to app for casino games, sports betting, lottery, all in one place. Easy access to real money games. You can enjoy everything Alberta has to offer right at your fingertips. Download the Play Alberta app now. Start playing today. Talk to you tomorrow.